It's safe to say that Saruman is one of the most recognizable villains in the fantasy genre. Yet, he was not always evil. Of course, when we first meet him, he's arrogant, jealous, and self-serving, but these are traits that dwell in all of us. So when did Saruman the Wise trade wisdom for madness? How did his perception of the world twist? Let's delve into his story and seek the answers. Saruman, like Blue Wizard, went east immediately after arriving in Middle-earth around the year 1000 of the Third Age. The details of his adventures in those distant lands remain unknown, but his purpose is clear. He intended to study the ancient lore concerning the power and history of Sauron. For nearly 15 centuries, Saruman roamed the lands of the East in search of knowledge. His contact with the former and even current followers of Morgoth left a lasting mark. The knowledge he acquired began to strike increasingly discordant tones, subtly undermining the world order established by Eru Ilúvatar. For the first 1,000 years, Saruman could act undisturbed, but in 2063, Sauron returned to the east and began uniting the tribes of the Easterlings. Saruman could now watch the Dark Lord at work, studying his methods and admiring his strength. Saruman himself was famed for his persuasive voice, but seeing how swiftly Sauron bent others to his will may have stirred envy in the Istar's heart. In 2460, Sauron openly returned to Middle-earth. Shortly thereafter, Saruman followed him west. He spent years in Minas Tirith, once again burying himself in ancient texts, this time those concerning the Rings of Power. He knew that Sauron had settled in Dol Guldur for a reason. The One Ring had been lost nearby in the Gladden Fields. Secretly, Saruman began his own search. 3 years later, in 2463, Saruman became the head of the White Council, a position that marked the beginning of his envy toward Gandalf. Saruman saw Sauron as a rival in the hunt for the ring, yet he resisted calls to attack the Dark Lord, believing that the ring would eventually reveal itself to its true master when Sauron regained enough strength. But things did not unfold as he expected, and Sauron grew far too powerful. Frightened, Saruman finally consented to the attack on Dol Guldur in 2941. The main cause of Saruman's downfall was the palantir left in Orthanc. He had used the Seeing Stone since 2759, and for many years all seemed well. That was until Sauron's return to Mordor. The stone's dark influence grew stronger as Sauron's servant has seized another palantir in Minas Morgul, which allowed the Dark Lord to communicate directly with Saruman. Why then would Saruman seek contact with his rival? From a strategic point of view, Sauron became so powerful that Saruman saw no hope of defeating him. In his eyes, the only way to avoid destruction was to join him. To fully grasp this relationship, we must return to the beginning of Tolkien's mythology. Both Sauron and Curumo, which is Saruman's real name, once served the Vala Aule, master of craftsmanship and creation. In Tolkien's legendarium, beings tied to creation are especially vulnerable to corruption. The act of creation, while noble, carries its own dangers, ambition, pride, and jealousy. Even Aule himself once let his ambition take over, and that's how the dwarves were created, in secret from Ilúvatar. Sauron, having once walked the same path as Saruman, knew exactly how to manipulate his mind. In later years, Saruman, much like the smiths of Eregion thousands of years before him, forged his own ring of power. Yet he never stopped dreaming of claiming the One Ring itself. His alliance with Sauron offered him a grim sort of peace. If he failed to find the ring, he could at least rule as the Dark Lord's vassal. By around the year 3000 of the Third Age, Saruman had fully turned to the side of evil. For years he concealed his true intentions from the world. Only when Gandalf revealed that he knew the location of the One Ring did Saruman finally cast off his mask. revealing the true Saruman of many colors. To conclude, Saruman's corruption did not happen overnight. It was a seed watered by jealousy and ambition. His envy of Gandalf's wisdom, his yearning for power, and his admiration of Sauron's might all led him down the same dark path. Isengard and the Ring of Power he forged were mere imitation of the strength of the Dark Lord.